The pleasing factor is anytime you chase over 200 runs to win a game of T20 cricket, it's a rarity. So to hold our nerve throughout the whole innings, I think the way Mitch Marsh once again led with the bat, the start that Davey and Travis gave us, the intent that they showed in chasing that total, and then the finishing skills of Tim David. We've seen it all around the world, and now we're sort of starting to see that really connect in Australian colours as well. So that's really pleasing. It's an exciting prospect to have Tim David finishing games like that for Australia.
Just a bit more on Tim. What does it take to be able to do what he does on a consistent basis? He's 4 not outs in a row now, and won 3 of those games. I think batting first, but 2 of them. Just as a mental strength as a player, what does it take to be that sort of player?
It takes a long journey. I think any time you're in those finishing roles, it's littered with failure across that journey. So to be able to come through and out the other side, and then I suppose when you get the opportunity as well to be in those situations and then take the opportunity, I think there's a lot of mental strength to it, but there's also just a lot of skill, high level skill. It's powerful hitting. It's something different, and we've seen some great death hitters over time, and sometimes in opposition teams as well. But it's a scary proposition when he walks to the crease for any opposition bowlers. But I think the journey and the failures along the way build the player that you see out there today.
Would you make the spinners tonight? Because they got carded a bit. They didn't feature late in the innings.
Yeah, I think for both teams it was very difficult for spin, access to the short boundaries. Batters playing with a lot of freedom. Game 1 of a 3-match series. It's 0-0, so I think the freedom in which both batting units played in put the spinners under immense pressure early, and there wasn't a lot there for them. I think it was a really good surface. It was made for entertaining cricket, and unfortunately the spinners didn't feature in the game the way that we probably thought they would. I think New Zealand took 2 spinners in. We had obviously Zamps and Glenn Maxwell at our disposal, and I don't think any of those 4 impacted the game the way that we thought they may have at the start.
Just similarly, in the same question I should put to Mitch, is the 4th game in a row you've conceded 200. Of course you won 3 of those. So put it in context, but is that concerning? Is that just the nature of the beast from heading to World Cup, or you make it that much more?
I think you put it down, as you said, we've won 3 of those games, so relative to the opponent in those games, we've been able to come out on the winning side 3 times. So I think that the surfaces, the venues, the size of the boundaries, there's a lot of things to take into account when you're scoring 200 plus. And as I said, I think the freedom in which the teams are playing leading into a World Cup, I think there's a little bit of, okay, how far can we push it as a batting unit? What sort of totals do we need? And I think that brings about a freedom. And whether you see that in a World Cup, see that type of freedom in a tournament play, that'll be interesting to see. But at the moment, in the bilateral series, we're seeing that, and it's made for good, entertaining cricket.
It's the first time you've had the big 3 quicks in T20 cricket for a while. Even though they've played a lot of cricket, does it still take a while to find your feet in that format if you haven't played for a while?
I think so, I think any time you're transitioning or you're coming off a bit of a layoff, I think Josh Hazell was probably the best prepared. He played the white ball series against the West Indies, so he had the greatest connection. But for Starkey and for Paddy to come back in and I think execute the way they did, I thought they were really impressive the way that they sequenced, and it was an unforgiving surface, small boundary. So some of the figures don't look that good in isolation, but when you put it into the relative terms across the game, they've held up pretty well. But there's no doubt there's a challenge to transition, and we feel as though this is an opportunity for them to play together to get ready for a World Cup. And we've got a Test series as well coming up, so there'll be a bit of rotation in and amongst the 3 games.
Are you able to confirm whether Matthew Wade will be here in time for the 2nd game yet?
I think he's landed tonight. So he's congratulations to the Wade family. So he's arrived, and he'll be available for games 2 and 3.
The quirk of this schedule is you're going from almost the 2 grounds of complete opposite. Short, long. Guys adjust all the time, but it's one of the more extreme ones you'll probably get. How do you go about in a 24-hour turnover getting ready for the challenges of Eden Park? I think most players have played there. They know what they're in for. So that's one thing that will be familiar. We don't know what the surface will give us, whether there's any hold in it, potentially changes the way that you bowl, but generally speaking it's a true surface there, and you try to get them to hit the long boundaries more often than not, so defend straight and get them to hit square, and I think we'll keep it as simple as that and use the angles. And as I said, our bowling unit know what they're in for, and a lot of planning's done before we get to that venue, and like here as well. It's likely you'll come up against Trent Bolton at least one of the games. He's back in the squad. He's bowled well against Australia a number of times. Just what sort of a challenge does he pose as an opposition bowler in this format?
I think he's world leading in some areas, isn't he? In particular, the new ball, he poses a threat, swings it, creates headaches for the top order. So I'm sure that the boys will be well planned for that. They've played against him numerous times, and I think if we can show intent and put him off his game, I think that's one way of negating. And as I said, the way Travis and Davey Warner went about it tonight, I think Davey, in particular, the last 4 games, he's been really impressive the way he's gone out there and stamped his authority on the game.
Where's Steve Smith in your World Cup points? Because obviously he played tonight, he'll probably play in Auckland. But he does have an IPL contract, and is it a tough road for him to make the squad? Or?
I don't think it's a tough road. I think there's competition for places, and that's a good, I suppose that's a good problem to have. And he'll get some opportunity here. He had some opportunity in India at the back end of a World Cup, and we're planning for him to play in South Africa as well, going that far back. I think it's August, September time. But he was unfortunate that he had I think it might have been a wrist injury at the time. He missed those 3 one days. But he's definitely in the thoughts. As there's 20 plus players that are in our thinking. We're not settled in terms of the final 15 at this stage, and that's why these games are really important. And then we've got a lot of our players playing in IPL as well, so we get another look at what certain players are doing in that competition, which I think is probably the biggest connection to international cricket. I think it's the best competition in the world in terms of domestic format. There's great connection to international cricket there. So we're playing him for a reason. If he wasn't in our thinking, then he wouldn't be on the plane over here.
Yeah, I mean, like it's a weird situation where he's almost got to cross fingers while the IPL is going on. Someone's not making duns and taking his spot, right?
I don't think it's as simple as that. I think, as I said, he'll get some opportunity here. How he goes in those opportunities, I think, will dictate what happens. We'll probably play him in a slightly different role than we've seen in previous World Cups. In T20 cricket, he's gone to the top of the order in recent times, so batting higher up. And I think there's still competition for places, and there's a 15-man squad, and now our job is to get to a 15. We're not going to get to a final 11 as we sit here, but we'll work through to a 15 and then give ourselves as many options in that 15 to negate what the West Indies surfaces will challenge us with.
Everyone put up all right?
Yeah.
Got a full 15 now?
Yeah, we've got 14. 15 once Wade comes in. Yeah. So once we get there tomorrow, we've got 15, and it's very rare that we have 15 fit ones. So everyone's pulled up well, which is the pleasing factor. And it's just that balance between the T20s, and obviously the priority is the Test series over here, but also building towards a World Cup. So it's a unique balancing act. So I think New Zealand are doing the same. I think Tim Southey's missing the next couple of games as well. So so there's the schedule always poses some challenges in what you do. So.